Hello, hello. Today, I'm going to teach you how to effectively and safely barbell squat. So we'll go from setup to technique, common mistake, and how to program it. So whether you're a beginner or you've been squatting for a while, or maybe your knees hate you or your low back when you squat, you'll finish this video having a better idea of what your body needs to be doing when you're doing a squat. Simple, step-by-step, clear cues you can remember and use. So first, a good squat should train your quads, glutes, core, and lets you use a lot of load safely and should be repeatable from rep to rep. It should not feel like a circus trick. It shouldn't feel like you're shredding your knees or your lower back. And if the squat you're doing doesn't match your body, your limb length, your hip structure, it's gonna feel wrong no matter how hardcore you go. So we'll start with stance and positioning. So safety first, but foot position. Your knees are gonna go where your toes are pointing. If it feels better to have them slightly point them out. And then as far as how wide, I always go slightly wider than my hips, but if your hips feel really blocked, try a little bit wider stance and point your toes out slightly. It should give you a little more wiggle room there. And then with the bar position, there's two main bar positions for regular squats, not including front squat. And that's high bar, which sits on your traps a little bit more, and low bar. The high bar is your torso is more upright. It's a lot more quad emphasis. And the low bar sits more on your rear delts and it has a little bit more hip and glute emphasis. If you're not sure, I would start with high bar because that's typically a normal squat for what people would consider a normal squat. I personally do low bar, so my positioning might look a little bit different than yours. So high bar would be more, here, let me put my hood up. High bar would be here. You can see it's more sitting at the base of my neck and on my traps, not on your neck, at the base of your neck. And low bar is gonna be more here. You need a little more shoulder mobility for low bar, and that could be a limiting factor for some people. So when you are gripping, I like to have my wrists as close to my shoulders as I can. If you can't, you can go a little bit wider. You just wanna make sure you don't wing your shoulders back like this. You wanna tuck them forward. Shoulder blades should be down and forward, so that way you can push the bar into your back a little bit. It'll give you more stability. It'll also stabilize your torso. If you are making sure you have that engagement, it'll feel much better. When it comes time to step back, you wanna put your bar in place. I put my feet underneath me and I tuck under and I come up and 1, 2, then I get my width where I want it, brace my core, tuck my shoulders, and then you wanna start your squat. You wanna be nice and controlled in the beginning, and you wanna think about screwing your feet into the floor. That'll add some tension to your hips, and that way you're not overusing your knees or your lower back, but you're getting some glute engagement, and you don't have to worry about having an incomplete structure to your squat. So before you descend into your squat, you want to brace your core. And a good analogy that has worked for a lot of my clients is to pretend like you are going underwater. So you're here, brace your core. I can do a whole separate video on core bracing. You want to make sure that your hips are stacked underneath your ribs and your knees and your hips move together. So you don't want to come here and squat. You want to, everything should move in unison. So on the descent, I'm bracing. I do a little bit of a hinge because I have a low bar squat, but screwing my feet into the ground, everything moving down at once. I like to think like there's a string on my sacrum and it's pulling me straight down into the ground. Depth will vary person to person. You want to start where you feel most controlled. You don't want your torso to fall forward. So with a high bar squat, that might look like you're here and falling forward. You'd be here, and what happens is you fall forward, your hips shoot up first, and that's a lot on the lower back. So trying everything to move together up and down, screwing the feet into the ground, and that's what these are for. If you want to practice depth, you set it to where your depth is, and you can use it to reset. So back to the underwater cue. If you're here and you got your descent right, you do not want to relax into the hole. You want to keep your tension and you want to push the floor away from you. Again, everything in unison, still screwing those feet into the ground. So I'm here, holding my breath like I'm underwater. As I push up, you can breathe outward in your sticking point. So what it'll look like together is you're here, everything all at once. You can get lower. So you want to make sure you're bracing through the bottom and the top. If you lose your brace, you will fall forward. Some common mistake, a lot of people, their knees will cave inwards. That's where that screwing the feet comes in. It's gonna activate your glutes. Oftentimes, it's an underactivation on the outside of the legs, and the inside of the legs are pulling your knees inwards. So you can definitely practice that glute activation cueing, or it could be you have too much load on the bar, lower it a little bit, focus on form. You could also try widening your stance a little bit. What other ones? If your heels are coming up, that's usually a mobility issue. You can put some plates under your knees. You could get some shoes that are lifters so that you don't have to overcompensate for the lack of mobility in your ankles. Ankle mobility will fix that ultimately, but you could also try a wider stance and turning your feet out a little bit so that your heels can stay planted. You want your whole foot on the ground. Another pro tip is to get some flat shoes. If you try to lift in running shoes, it's like trying to squat on Orbeez. It just doesn't work. If your torso is falling forward, you want to think about pulling the bar into your back, proud chest, and you can think about the top part of your chest reaching towards the corner of the room, but overall pushing the bar into your back so that you're not here, you're relaxing your shoulders, pushing the bar into your back. For most people, squatting 1 to 2 times per week on how to program it. Squatting a couple times a week is great. If you really want to focus on building the technique of your squat, you can get away with 3, but I would allow your body that time in between to rest. And then if you are solely focused on hypertrophy and you don't care as much about strength, the barbell squat is a good exercise for hypertrophy, but if you can't properly execute it with good form, you can choose other variations that will give you the hypertrophy stimulus you're looking for, the muscle growth stimulus you're looking for. You can try different variations like pin squats, front squats, hack squats, leg press, anything, split squats. You could do it with a dumbbell, you could do it with a barbell, you can do it however you damn well please, honestly. But if you want to get better at a barbell squat, the only way to do that is to barbell squat.
Dancing around, dancing, dancing. The next time you're in, she be out. Dancing, 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 dancing. Yeah, dancing, 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 dancing. She be out. Go, dance, go, go.